Hey folks, what's going on? J. Anthony Thompson at JATWorld Studios, JATWorld Productions, JATWorld Records, putting our thing down here. I wanted to put out another video and talk to you about mixing background vocals. We'll probably do another one on lead vocals, but I wanted to start getting some more information out there, and so we actually got ourselves a half-decent screen capture program so you can actually see what we're doing. But let's talk about background vocals really quickly. This is one of the things that can really make or break your track. I know there's a lot of really good videos out on YouTube that are, talking about making beats and blah, blah, blah. And that's all well and good. I respect what everyone is doing out there. There's not a lot of information out there on really how to build these into real songs and how do you take something in terms of music that you've created and really put the full, sort of treatment or texture to it. So it becomes a commodity that people really want to listen to, or perhaps that people will buy or license or whatever it is that you want to do. So if you think about it, if you take even a really simple, piece of music, it's not always a complete picture unless you help people to see what else can be done with it. So one of the things that we focus on a lot here is, doing complete music, in that we'll put a track together and then we'll go to work on the vocals as well, because that really helps to round it out. If you're doing music, the music is just the foundation. And if you're trying to push your music out there, you're leaving it up to someone else's imagination to figure out what your music can or cannot do. And sometimes that's great. Some people want a blank slate in terms of the music that they can completely write to. But from my perspective, I like to give people some ideas as to what they can do on top of music that we've created. So that said, let's talk about vocals. Here are the things that are going to make or break you in terms of vocals. One, let's talk about what you are recording in terms of the vocalist, the person or the people who are doing your background vocals. That's probably 75% of it there, and the rest of it's going to be the equipment that you're going to be using to record them with, and the software, and then basically what you do from an engineering perspective to even put decent rough mixes together, which is what we're going to look at a little later. So again, from our standpoint, the way we do it is all of our background parts are laid 4 to 6 deep. And what I mean by that is that if there's let's say a soprano part, that soprano part is going to be laid 4 times. And I mean 4 that we want to keep. So I don't know how many you're going to have to record until you get it right. It's going to be up to the vocalist. But you want those pieces to be, very, very similar in terms of the timing and the attack and the sustain on the phrases, as well as the pitch. If you get, situations where you have a vocalist that can be a little pitchy, and you go to either isolate those vocals kind of in the middle in terms of panning, or isolate them or kind of spread them out more to the sides, you're going to end up with a lot of issues because the fact that it's out of tune is going to become very obvious. And sometimes even with pitch correction, you can't fix it. And then from your standpoint, that puts a much greater burden on you in terms of what you are doing with the music itself. So that's a critical piece. So now you have a soprano, say an alto, and a tenor part. So you're talking about having potentially 12 to 15 or more parts. And the reason you want to do that is because you want to create a wide stereo field and allow your mix to have some depth along with the music. If you A-B, and by that I mean that you listen to a piece of commercial music versus yours, then you can get to see some of the different things that the people are doing. You will see how far panned a lot of the vocals are, but at the same time you don't want to overdo it, because if your music is being played somewhere where the speakers are spread far apart in the room, then there could be parts of your mix that are lost. So we have other voices that we can move further in, so some of those things can be heard if the stereo field gets to be disrupted too much. Then beyond that, I would say get a decent mic, one that gives you great control. I know some people that are creating great music with really, really simple equipment, but it does cause them to do more work on the back end in terms of EQ and things like that. Here, we don't really have to do a ton. We have pretty decent equipment. Our primary vocal mic for most things is a Rode K2. We do have a CAD E350 as well that we use, and a Focusrite Platinum preamp, which helps out a great deal as well. And I would also say be prepared to have some form of compression available, either on your preamp or directly on the board. As most of you know, I use a DM 4800 by Tascam. So in some cases I will use compression there. Most times I'll do it at the preamp. Not so much that it squashes the vocal, but you want to make sure that you're getting a nice even wave file as it's being recorded. You should be able to watch and pay attention to that as you're recording to make sure things don't get too far out of balance. And if you can control it with compression, it keeps you from having to stop a session and have to kind of tweak. Once I hit the record button, I want to minimize how much I'm touching anything. So that said, let's kind of jump in. We're going to look at a real small section of audio and background, but you're going to see how much how many actual tracks that we do, and actually some of the work that we actually put into making them sound really good. I wish I could show you a lot more, but the vocalist is actually pretty good. So the better the vocalist is, the less work that we have to do. But I did want to help some people to get a different view into how to make this happen. All right, so here it is, mixing background vocals.
All right, background vocals. Let's jump into it, make it happen. Okay, so here's the section that we're going to be dealing with. Starting here, track number here is 59, going up through track 98. So we've actually used a few tracks here on a very, very small section of our song here. And once you get into this and wanting to create a great sound, you're going to find yourself probably doing something very similar. Here's the first thing I want to say to you. Get organized. Get your tracks organized. What I've done is to label these by section as they occur in this background part. Section 1, Section 2, all the way through Section 5, and then those tracks, I've color-coded them, and the reason is you're going to find yourself doing a lot with these tracks. So the easier they are for you to find and identify, the better it's going to be. Also, you notice I'm on two screens here, so as I go from screen to screen. But if you look here, I mean, there's, because I'm only showing you one section of the tune, there are a lot of tracks here. So without organization, this can really get away from you very quickly. So get yourself organized. So let's go ahead and get started, and then we'll jump into some of these concepts here. Let's listen one time with the music, and then we'll listen without the music.
It doesn't matter what you see. It doesn't matter how you feel. It's gonna get better after a while. After a while, just as the seasons change, the way you feel cannot be made. It's gonna get better after a while.
Let's listen again without the music.
It doesn't matter what you see. It doesn't matter how you feel. You gotta believe it's gonna get better after a while. After a while, just as the seasons change, the way you feel cannot be made. It's gonna get better after a while.
All right, so again, from an organization standpoint, what you can see is as the part is playing, the tracks as they've been recorded are pretty much in a cascading fashion as they occur in the tune. Again, from an organization standpoint, that's going to make things a lot better. The next thing I want to talk to you about is about stem mixing. And so what we're going to do is go into this first section. As a matter of fact, let's go to all of our music first, and let's mute out all the music, and then I want to go through all of these sections.